Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson here on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. Thank you so much for joining. I love you. We have some super fun things to talk about today. One of them is consciousness, and I'm on with Lori right now. We're continuing a conversation from last week, so if you wanted to check that out, you could always go to YouTube and go to the previous recording, okay? Thank you. Yay. Yay, Molly joined. Aloha, Molly.
Oh, hi, Molly.
Yay. Okay, so Lori had a question. She sent me a question on Facebook. Is it all right if I read that, Lori? Okay, cool. All right, hold on. Oh wow, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot lot of emails here. Okay, let's see. Oh, there it is. Let's see this. Not move? No. Okay. So, Lori said, I'm listening to our conversation from Tuesday, that's last week. So if consciousness is the belief in separation, a baby is not conscious yet, right? And this question was great because I saw it and it was like, wow, and I just like quieted down and like, what's coming up? So here's my response. Consciousness is the belief in separation. Babies are made of consciousness, innocently trying to escape the pain, guilt, and discomfort of consciousness by taking on an identity as a body. When babies are first born, they do not yet have the fully developed sense of being a body. They still sense themselves as one consciousness, separate from God. Birth is another level of separation. The beauty of so-called birth is that it brings the opportunity to see that the whole separation is untrue, meaning the whole consciousness is untrue. Without birth, we could be stuck in the illusion of separation for eternity. Of course, that wouldn't happen, you know, because it's like love is always there, and that's what we are. Right. So it's not as if we can get lost forever. Lost in thought, I mean, because no one is even lost. Right. Yay. So what kind of questions come up for you about that?
Well, because a baby is just love. It doesn't know it has a hand or a body, or it doesn't know anything.
Yes.
that we collectively decide is a body, a mind, a air, a sky, you know.
Yeah.
So a baby embodies the love that we are.
Yeah, yeah, for the most part, though it seems like there's so much light coming out of a baby. Do you notice that?
Right. No judgment, no mind stuff. Yes.
Yeah, there's like so much light. It's also the will of that microcosm of consciousness to manifest as form to escape the pain of consciousness. It's a projection of a separation. It's like a hope that that a world can be made that's satisfactory. A world could be made up because there's a belief that separation happened.
I've got no words, but so many want to come out.
So it's like we're all here trying to escape the pain of our consciousness, and we can use this experience to see through the consciousness, and then not need the illusion of separation. Because you know the real world is here. The world that's been created for us by the love that we are. The real world is here. This is it. We're just perceiving illusions created subconsciously, made up from thought.
Yeah, right. Everything is here because of thought.
Uh-huh.
collectively we've all decided on every what we see,
Yeah.
s-
Yeah. So
but it's
since it's
not
made,
really.
yeah, it's made from a guilty consciousness, though, and that's why we have death and stuff like that.
It's
Guilty consciousness demands punishment.
oh oh
Yeah. So as guilty consciousness is presented like all day long, it's just presented sometimes in really small forms, like maybe there's a little thought that says, "Oh, I shouldn't have ate that. That's going to put pounds on me."
right, right,
There's one right there.
right,
You know, there's no way that's possible except by making it a belief and believing in it.
right. Yeah. Or I
So
shouldn't have bought it.
yeah, yeah. So all the different ways that we find our mind projecting the illusion, you know, we could sense it in our bodies, and we could start to see those thoughts, those self-limiting, guilty thoughts. That's how they're purified.
Just by seeing them,
Yeah, and it's like seeing them from the point of view, from the point of knowing,
knowing
from the
that it's
position of
not,
knowing.
that it's just a thought.
Yes. If it's not if it's not from the position of knowing, it's just automatically believed. Or it might be argued with like not believe. Oh no, I don't believe that. That's the same thing as making it real and then saying you don't believe it.
Right, right, right.
Making stuff real. I notice that a lot in healing too. Like when people do healings, they let the idea be meaningful that it's whatever they're sensing in the other person is because of something that happened in the past. It's because of your birth. It's because of this. It's because of that. Gosh, what happened before that your energy is so stuck or your muscles are so tense or something like that. That's another way it's also projected. You know, and when it comes to healing, all that can heal is love. And and love flows naturally through us when there's just a willingness to experience whatever's coming up without making thoughts about it meaningful.
Mm. Wow. Okay. And that consciousness
Hmm.
is what's causing all that guilt.
Yeah, because it's consciousness of being a separate self.
Right.
That's what it's conscious of. So if consciousness is conscious of being a separate self, it's a guilty feeling, and it's
Right.
too much. It's too much. That's why we accept the ego's guidance and manifest this form and make up a world, make up our own world in separation.
What
It's
do you
like
mean it's
another
too
level,
much?
it's another level of separation.
It's too much for
The pain of it.
the pain of the separation.
Yes, the pain of the separation, and that's what this world is for. You know, that's what the ego's purpose for this world is, to run from that. Run from that pain of separation by trying to make up for it in material things and material loves, you know, special loves um, and I don't know, gravitas for ourselves or whatever,
Mm.
all to try to escape the pain of consciousness.
Right.
Whereas the pain of consciousness isn't can't really hurt us anyways. And you know, at the same time, this life where you know there's the manifesting as form is such a gift because it's a huge opportunity to see through all of the illusions being made by this one belief that's not true.
Yes,
That,
because the consciousness
that
isn't real.
yeah, it's like a veil. It's like a veil of illusion. You know, maybe it's the first veil of illusion. I don't know. It's like, but I could see that it's like a veil of illusion that's placed over our mind as soon as the belief that we're separate took hold. You know, as soon as that belief that we're separate took hold, it's like boom, there's consciousness. And it's like, you know, consciousness, like I said, is conscious of separation. There's nothing to be conscious of when there's no separation. There's no consciousness. There's no necessity for it. It's not like we're not communicating still. It's just that people feel scared about that because there's a fear that, and there's an attachment to communicating the way we do, like through our bodies. You know, like with words and images and stuff like that, communicating the way that we do. There's a fear because there's not a remembering what it's like to be one.
Right.
So there's a fear of losing that. And that's where the unconscious, just kind of like buying into illusion over and over again, comes in. And you know, on some level, that's a choice to hold the illusion down. I mean, we have to hold this down. It doesn't just consciousness doesn't just stay like this. We have to keep like re-believing in it all the time. That's why the thoughts are always coming, and with a temptation to be believed in, to believe in them. Because that's what holds down the illusion.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a quote from Ramesh.
Okay.
Velska, which kind of shattered my. I'm going to read it. It's just a small. It says, just as the difference between the space in a pot and the space outside it disappears when the pot is demolished, when it is realized that the difference between the individual consciousness and the universal consciousness does not in fact exist. Okay. Individual consciousness and universal consciousness does not in fact, okay, so there isn't individual consciousness.
Yeah, it's like a stage, you know. Like like every person that we perceive, it's like a shifting of the consciousness. That's why it's like we can't really identify ourselves as anything except for like what we remember as being us through the shifting of the consciousness. But it's just constantly changing, and it's not, and we're not private. Like nothing's private about our consciousness. You know, like we like to think we think our own private thoughts, but we don't. Everyone can feel them. Everyone can feel those thoughts. Their energy.
Everyone can feel my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's how healing happens. This is a really good example to my mind. Is say you're having a conversation with someone, and then all of a sudden you feel a trigger of an emotion based on something they said, so your mind starts running with these thoughts. So have you ever noticed where you tune out everything else and now your thoughts are really loud?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay. So if we're believing those thoughts, what's happening is we're kind of building a wall between us and the person we're standing there having a conversation with. But if we just notice that they're only thoughts and they're just passing, healing happens right there.
Right.
Because
Well,
because that exchange between the two people is like an ancient illusion that's been playing out. Anytime I see my thoughts start running like that, there's a recognition that, oh, here it is, and just allow whatever sensation that is to happen within my body, and then that's where those patterns are just broken. Like they become not necessary anymore because they need a play. They need some kind of dance, a play of energy.
Wow.
And we've been making this up. We've been making this illusion denser and denser over our experiences, over time, you could say, by playing these delusional energies together.
Well, my ex-daughter-in-law, who slapped my granddaughter, um, there's been that energy where she's held since February, held a lot against me. Well, she's
Okay.
blaming everybody in her life and not looking at her. She's blaming her
Okay.
daughter. She's blaming my son. She's blaming everyone.
Uh-huh.
And so I've just been keeping my distance, but there's been like you said last week, there's an energetical something that we keep in that, we keep it in the same with the energy. Well, yesterday morning,
Mm-hmm.
wait, today's Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday morning I had um early in the morning I woke up and I was couldn't go back to sleep, and the thoughts came around to her, and I just pictured her standing in front of me, and everything that I've held back just
Yeah.
came out towards her.
Uh-huh.
And that was at like 4 o'clock in the morning. By 10:30 in the morning, she asked me if I could come get Hannah because she was admitting herself to the hospital because there was something wrong with her.
Oh, what a sweetheart.
It just melted not that I was holding big walls, but there was just a fear of setting her off,
Yeah.
by being who I am. So I just, oh, it just, the floodgates came. I said, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm always here. I will
Uh-huh.
always love you. It just, no, oh my God, everything just, I'm just in awe of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I, I, she was ever since I've known her for the past 10 years or more, she's always blamed everybody else. And now she literally said, there's something wrong with me. And she says, it's more than just talking, I think. She goes, I got to do
Uh-huh.
this for my kids. I said, you got to do it for you. Uh,
Yeah.
so,
And that's that's one step I see where it's like there's this thinking that something is wrong with me, and that's still an identity, you
that's what I
know.
told her. I said, there's nothing wrong with you. I said, we have kids. We don't know. We're just going through life the best way we know how, really, till
Yeah.
we learn more. And this is knocking on her door. Oh, the door's open. I'm here if she needs to talk, but I think she's gonna go on drugs. You know what they do when they admit themselves to the psychiatric place? They're gonna pump her
Sure.
with whatever.
And whatever it is, it's exactly what's necessary. That's
That's
another.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly. I said to her, please don't let them put you full of drugs. It's just a Band-Aid. And she says, well, apparently I need a Band-Aid to get me through this right now. I said, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, at least she's getting help and not
Well,
blaming.
yeah. Well, the main thing is too when it comes to observing someone blaming is noticing where we're holding it. Not necessarily like trying to identify a place or anything like that, but because noticing like everyone in our experience is actually being projected by us. Okay,
Right. So she's
they're not
rejected
separate.
by me.
Yeah, so when there's a perception of someone blaming, there's an opportunity right there because there's an idea that something needs to be different about them, you
Mm.
know. And it's our projection. It's always our projection. There's no need to get in on anyone else's affairs and think how they should be different or anything like that because it's always us. And that includes feeling bad for them. Any kind of sadness or feeling bad for them, again, that's another opportunity to address the energy in the body. Just embrace the experience is another way to say it. Okay, embrace that experience of sadness because that experience of sadness for you does not it is not caused by the other person or what they did or anything like that. That experience of sadness for you is an energetic pattern that keeps on coming back in different forms. So it's what causes that projection.
Oh.
That energetic pattern of sadness is what is causing the projection of a person, you know, however they would be described by your mind. But she's not really like that. That is an illusion. That's a misinterpretation of energy, because the way we see people is not how they are. There's no one that's not 100% immaculate.
Right.
So that's where it can tune up the healing, when there's a recognition that that person that we think is that way is not really that way. That is actually an imaginary thing coming out of our own subconscious mind.
So it would be, where am I blaming?
Not even needing to ask the question like that.
No.
Not even needing to ask the question like that, because there's not really an I. But that's kind of on the right track, let's say it that way. That's a little bit more towards truth, let's say it that way.
Okay.
Okay, but it's more like a willingness to experience that sadness. See, here's where the confusion comes up. I'm sad because this person, whatever this person is going through, doing, saying, whatever.
Right.
It's missing that I'm experiencing sadness because sadness is a pattern that's set up, and that pattern that's set up is actually projecting that illusion of that person's like that. One way to ask the question is, how am I using this person or this person's behavior or this person's situation to attack myself?
Oh.
See? And then don't look for the answer. Never look for the answer. There's no need to do that. Once the question is opening from the heart, that opening is from the heart, it's just going to be yeah, it'll absolutely, and you just have revelations and see things. This is not really a teaching, you know.
Wow.
It's clarity that comes from your inner teacher.
Yeah.
Yay.
Whew. Wow, that was so good.
Isn't that fun?
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so awesome. I appreciate you so much coming on.
Hey, I appreciate having you to talk to.
I know. It's me too. I appreciate having you to talk to. Feel free to raise your hand again. I'll be talking about some other stuff that might get you on.
Yes, I'm dying to see what you're bringing. Yeah.
Okay, Lori. Aloha.
Bye.
Bye. Irina. Aloha, Irina.
Aloha.
Yay, I'm so glad you're joining today.
I know. I'm so happy that I'm in a place with Wi-Fi on a Tuesday.
Oh, hooray.
It's amazing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
actually in Cusco, Peru right now.
Oh, wonderful. What are you doing over there?
Pilgrimaging.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I was in Colombia for a while and been in Peru for the last 3 weeks, and now I head up to some temples, Chavin, from the Chavin people. They were like the pre-Incan people in northern Peru for a couple weeks.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah. It's really fun. I love it here.
Sounds like it. Amazing.
You're looking radiant, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel fabulous.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've only been able to watch like a few videos here and there since I left Hawaii because I've been so all over the world. So, I don't know that I'm necessarily up to speed totally on the evolution of your dialogues, but anyway, I've been like checking in here and there, and this thing has keeps coming up for me. So,
Okay, good.
okay. So when I have been contemplating that the 3D world is an illusion,
Okay.
I start like hyperventilating, and
Okay.
my heart starts racing really fast, and I feel like I literally feel like I'm gonna leave my body, and
Okay.
it feels like the whole world is gonna just implode on itself, because I'm like, okay, this 3D world is a projection,
Uh-huh.
and now that I know that, like, the projection is gonna like dissolve basically.
Oh, okay.
And um and like once I actually, as I was flying to South America, I was like on a, I think I was on a flight between, maybe I was on a flight between Bogota and Pasto, Colombia, on this tiny plane in these crazy mountains, and and like nobody spoke English, and I'm sitting there like thinking about this, and all of a sudden I felt literally like the plane was just gonna crumble into like a, like just in like fold in on itself, and then the earth, it was gonna be swallowed by the earth, and the earth was just gonna fold in on itself, and it was
Uh-huh.
all gonna be done. And then I would have to like tell myself that I believe in the 3D, that I'm like, okay, but I'm projecting it now. The 3D like world is here right now because I'm projecting it, and I would really like to stay here because I'm having, because I like it here, like I like this earth, and I'm having a really good time in my
Uh-huh.
movie. And that's
Uh-huh.
like the only way I feel like I can stay in my body. Otherwise, I feel like I'm gonna like have a seizure and pass out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know. I don't see a fear of leaving the body like instantly like that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but like at least from my point of view, I don't see that as any kind of threat because what I notice is the opening is gradual and it's only as much as can be handled, like
Mm,
without
mhm,
fear, you know.
mhm,
So I don't see a need to try to hang on to the illusion in any kind
okay.
of circumstance. And
Mhm,
but then if you're experiencing a great deal of fear that you're not ready to experience yet, then
mhm,
that is sort of like a band-aid,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
there's not anything wrong with it, but
Okay.
just experiencing that as it is,
Okay. Because
I
that
think.
each time that it this occurs, I feel like I'm letting it go a little bit further, but then like I'm at this place where I'm like, I just can't go there. Like I can't do it, and I have to come back to the belief.
Exactly, and there's no fear, there's no shame in that at all. I mean, that's just, and there's totally nothing wrong with it either. That's just like a safety mechanism. So you
Mm,
notice
mhm,
it's a safety mechanism, you
mm,
know, and
mhm.
it is like, especially this world can be really enticing, and it is like, wow, I'm having a really good time and stuff like that. It's like, man, I don't want to get out of here.
I
You
know.
know, you know what I mean? It's just that this world, like for all of this, oh, this is awesome. The opposite is always coming back around.
Yeah.
Opposite's always coming.
Mm,
That's the way the world of illusion works.
mm,
So it's only when the joy comes from within. And here I can give you an example. Like this past weekend, my son was in a skateboarding accident where he kind of busted up the back of his head, all around his head too.
mm,
And it was pretty much like, you go to the hospital and we get airlifted over to Honolulu and stay in the hospital for a couple days and stuff like
mm,
that. And see the thing is, like, for a lot of people that would not be a good time on earth, right?
mhm, mhm,
but but for me, it's just the same as anything else. It doesn't
mm,
matter what I'm doing. See,
mhm,
it's like the
mhm,
the good the good time comes from within. The good time comes from opportunities for healing, especially seizing opportunities for healing. That's the best. That's the best.
mm,
It's just
mhm,
even some kind of thought that comes up. Oh, what if he's now what if he dies? What if he's paralyzed? All that kind of stuff. And you
Mm-hmm.
know, for a lot of people, that could be really frightening to have those kinds of thoughts coming up. But you know, it's like from my perspective, it's like, oh, there's something, and you know, there's a total surrender to whatever seems to be happening on the surface. It's also not, you know, automatic for me to see healing, because the illusion that something is wrong is not, it's not true.
Mm.
You know, it's like that's not reality. And the other thing is, a mind that's not harboring guilt can't manifest an accident or feel pain or anything like that. And it's like our minds aren't separate. So my having the experience of someone else having an injury, that is it. Basically, one way you can say it is, that's my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful. And that's the difference between living from the surface reality of how much fun I'm having doing all this different stuff, and not to say that it can't be fun. It's freaking awesome. All kinds of fun comes, you know, in all different ways. It's just that then there's not an attachment to it coming from anything on the surface. And when there's not that attachment, there's such a deeper joy with it, and there's no fear of losing it. Any part of it, even the body of a loved one.
Okay. I still have a ways to go.
Well, you know, it's all just, we're all really equal as far as that goes, because we're all awareness. We're all inseparable awareness. It's just that there are different levels of pretending, and that comes from fear. Fear of losing what we've made up. And there's there's, you know, again, no shame in having that fear. No shaming that in that fear being so tempting that it's just believed, because like you're not going to be able to escape love. It's coming for itself. It's coming to show itself to itself. Basically. And your last name is Love, so there you go.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, I think I'm going to chew on that, because it like basically permeated all the other things that were kind of floating around. So
Sure.
I'm just going to let that sink in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to have you join anytime.
Yeah. Awesome. It'll probably be like another month, but I look forward to it when it happens.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Arena. I love you. Aloha.
Love you. Aloha.
So that's one thing we were having some dialogue about at Wisdom Dialogues in person just yesterday, about how there's this subconscious resistance to allowing our lives to be created in love. There's this need to have our own lives, make our own lives, and not having it just be led by love or created by love, one way of saying it. And that's just due to fear of not getting what we want. But here's the thing too, we don't actually know what we want. And what we really want is whatever we're experiencing right now. That's really where it is. But there's this idea that we need to do something different, and this comes up in a lot of different ways. Just making conclusions about how we're going to act from now on, making a plan to get better at this or that, you know, and there's not anything wrong with that plan coming up like that. It's just the identification with it. Making a plan, it's just like a thought that's coming up, and all these thoughts, all these concepts, they can be arranged ordered, organized. That's a good way to say it. Organized by spirit. We don't have to try to organize the concepts ourselves. So when a concept arises saying, gosh, I'd really like to be kinder, that's something that spirit can totally give. But what happens is there's an identity that says, oh, I'm just not that. I'm not that kind. And trying to figure out how to say things a certain way to seem kind when we're really feeling a certain way. But that kindness really comes from allowing spirit to show us how much kindness there is for ourselves. How to be kind to ourselves. That's why that question about how am I using this situation, person, whatever, to attack myself can be so powerful when it's put out there with meaning, with feeling, like willingness to see that. Okay. Molly, yay! Molly's raising her hand. Aloha, Molly.
Hi, aloha.
Yay! So
Hey.
good to hear from you.
This is so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to share, and I've shared a little bit with you before, but I guess I wanted to share for those who are listening that I've really relaxed around food, and it's going really well.
Nice.
And I just will gravitate towards healthy food anyways,
Uh-huh.
but I just really, like you said, playing with it, and just it's been, and it's funny, a big thing that's coming up is like with having these awarenesses, like this awareness arise, and then other people, like being around other people in story.
Yeah.
And it's really trippy, and I'm trying not, someone called me pedantic the other day.
What is that?
What?
What's pedantic?
I think it means like, oh, everything's just happening, don't worry about it, like a
Oh,
like
cool.
like a button. I think.
All right. All right.
And like, so I guess part of what I'm learning is maybe like not needing to speak and just witness more,
That's what happens for me too. And that one thing I was sharing yesterday too is there's no need for there to be an answer when there's not a question.
Yeah, like let people say what they want to say and just feel the feelings of maybe sometimes annoyance arise within me, or sometimes like eagerness to say what I've learned, and just like just notice those feelings arising and just like holding space instead.
Oh man, that's so powerful too. And then you'll totally get the nudge from spirit, it almost feels like it almost feels like it's something that just has to come out when there's an opening. When there's an opening for sharing instead of telling. You see the difference between sharing and telling?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if they're not ready to receive it, they take it as an attack.
Yeah, or it becomes a philosophical debate kind of thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. Attack
Same.
on the belief, sure.
Yeah, just protecting our own concepts.
Yeah.
That's what a philosophical debate is. It's having certain beliefs and protecting them.
And then that's for me to not, to look at, am I needing to protect some beliefs I've formed around how this works,
Well, exactly. That's what happens. That is, the ego always comes in and tries to take over anything like that.
Everything.
You feel that eagerness in you. Yeah, anything, whatever it is, the highest spiritual concept, the ego will come around. That's why it's not in the concept. The living truth is always a living truth. It's not in the concept. And that's why there's never a need to defend a concept, because the concept isn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how we get into telling mode and in debate mode when it becomes defensive concept of what is it? Concept. But how I experience in my own body is how I know if I'm sharing or I'm defending a concept is if I could feel a almost like a gosh, like something's moving fast. That's the way I can say it. Something's moving fast, like the mind is turning fast, needing to do something, needing to protect something, needing to show someone something. It's a way different energy from the energy of sharing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you can feel that. So just witnessing it, and you know, sometimes you might not be able to help it. It'll just come out of your mouth, some kind of protective thing. And just witnessing that, noticing you can never go wrong, just witnessing that will cause it to show itself more. And as it shows itself more, there just becomes no need to go down that path because you've already seen where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that.
How fun, Molly.
And then one
For you.
share is that I woke up with such like things that I've shared with you before, and like deep trust, like lack of trust.
Yeah.
Being, you know, away now on the mainland, and just like deep shit arising and going, oh God, something is happening that's wrong. It's really wrong. This is intuition. I can feel it in my stomach.
Yeah.
And then I went and I laid in meditation and I just felt it. I felt the fear. I felt the distrust. And then I reminded myself that I can trust in everything. So it doesn't matter if I can trust individuals or not. I can trust in everything. And then it completely vanished. Like it was cool 180. So I guess I'm learning, like, maybe not so much to trust this fear masked as intuition.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Thank you for saying that. That's lovely.
But something still arises that says you're being naive.
Nice.
You're walking into the lion's den.
Yep. Yep. And you know, that's the ego. Anything that feels fearful like that.
Yeah.
That's always the ego, because it doesn't want to lose this illusion. And you know, the last thing the ego wants you to see is that the illusion isn't real.
Oh my God. I can feel
like
it in my body right now.
What's that?
I can feel it in my body right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All like shaking stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like on those deeper level like thoughts, the really like not believing in thought is just like that's really that's a real deep one. That like some thoughts are very persistent that are like, no, you have to believe me. I am so real.
Yes. Oh yes, I know. That's so fun.
Love you.
I love you, Molly. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Me too.
I love that day we talked too on Friday. It was that same day that Blaze and I ended up in the hospital. It was so interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Friday afternoon. Yep.
What happened?
There was a skateboarding.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, I talked about it a little bit earlier. Maybe you weren't on yet. I said a little bit about it. You can check it out later.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Anyone who has any questions for me on that too, let me know, okay? I love you. Okay. Aloha, Molly. Okay, so I have one question here that someone wrote me in their email. And here it is. As I go through life, there is this inner judge critic that is constantly evaluating my behavior as good, bad, healthy, unhealthy, etc. An example of, quote, bad behavior is self-medicating, such as porn, eating for reasons other than physical need, etc. There is suffering and feeling I have turned away from reality and experiencing what was arising in the moment. And my self-esteem suffers in the process. Can you share anything about self-medicating and the judgments that arise from not living up to your ideals and goals? Well, yeah, I think that's something that I share about all the time, and all that has to do with is that initial subconscious guilt from believing that there's a separation and believing that it was caused by us. Okay? That inner critic is going to be there with the evaluations. And listen, this one can blow the mind every time if it's recognized with an open heart. Is that there's never any need to evaluate yourself or anyone else. There's never any need for evaluation. So as soon as the mind starts evaluating and there's noticing that there's never a need for evaluation, that evaluation that's happening becomes meaningless. And so eventually it just stops presenting itself. Or when it does present itself, it just looks comical. You know, to me, it's kind of funny. It's pretty funny. Like, especially when it comes to food, you know, some years ago, whenever, you know, I'd wake up in the morning and immediately my mind would go to evaluating what I ate the day before to determine whether or not I should feel guilty today. Okay? So that's one that I could see really clearly, but this kind of evaluation is popping up all day long, all the time. And every time we buy into it as if it's meaningful, it gives more credence to this ego game that we can be guilty of something, that we can be unworthy, that we might deserve punishment. This whole healthy, unhealthy, good, bad thing is a setup for punishment. Okay, like we try to be good, but we can't help it. Sometimes we're bad. You know, it's like it's all it is that we're watching here is a shifting of consciousness. All this is that we think is the I, this is a shifting of consciousness. So when we identify it and think that it's actually us that's doing it, then it's shown to us how difficult it is to keep being good, and how this bad, like the angel and devil on the shoulder kind of thing, takes over. And the thing is, nothing that we do in this illusion, not that we can do anything in the first place, but nothing that's done through these physical forms can leave any kind of scar on us. And also, everything that's done through these physical forms is an opportunity, because that is an experience. It brings with it an experience. And if we're using the experience to attack ourselves, then we're not seizing the opportunity for healing. Instead, we're making more illusions. So anytime something like that comes up, it can just be recognized for what it is, if there's willingness to do that. For a lot of us, that willingness is not there at this point in time, because there's still this personal will to get something. Maybe it's a healthy body. We want to get a healthy body for ourselves. See? Spirit doesn't need you to get a healthy body for your spirit. Spirit does not need you to do that. Okay? Spirit's totally got that. Healthy body, calm mind, all that stuff. That's not your job. Okay? That's not your job. The only job that there is healing. Healing. That's it. And healing is just a matter of seeing that these attacks are based on nonsense. These thought-based attacks, okay? Self-medicating, porn, eating for reasons other than, these are all meaningless. They don't mean anything. Because there's this drive to make meaning out of them, as if I need to stop that, that's what makes it persist. Okay? If there's a feeling that I need to stop doing that, that's what makes it persist. It's not experienced. It's there to be experienced, and it'll keep continuing until it's experienced. And by experience, I mean experiencing it without judgment, because experiencing it with judgment is not fully experiencing. It's like experiencing it through a cloud of delusion. Okay? So to really experience something, there needs to be a penetration of the awareness through that cloud of delusion. But if we're accepting thoughts that say we could get it wrong as true, then that's not really experiencing it. That's just experiencing delusions. Okay? There is suffering and feeling I have turned away from reality. Yeah, well, all the suffering is in that sense that we're turned away from reality. Okay? All the suffering is really, you know, based on that sense. But the only turning away from reality there is is believing the thought that says what you seem to be doing it means something. Okay? It doesn't mean anything. Yay. Judgments that arise from not living up to your ideals and goals. Well, there's judgments that arise from living up to your ideals and goals too. You know, there's judgments that arise like that. Like there's people who are looking for a partner, but then there's all these judgments about what kind of partner they would accept. You know, I was talking to one man the other day, and he was telling me that he cannot accept a partner who isn't vegan. He can't accept that. And you know, we had a little bit of a chat about it, and I go, oh really? And he goes, yeah, well, isn't that the way it works for you? What's your food philosophy? And I go, well, at this point, I don't really have a food philosophy, and you know, my husband seems to be losing his as well. and what it really came down to, it really came out, is that people need rules, and that's what he said, is people need rules to because not everyone can trust their spirit like that. You know, I was talking about trusting the spirit that's within us, that's all knowing. And he said not everyone can do that, and he's like people need rules, and then he said I need rules, and I was like aw, and then we had a hug, and I told him you can keep your rules, you can keep them as long as you like. And he just laughed and he goes, yeah, thank you. You know, it's like just noticing that these rules that we make, you know, for one, this is how the ego works. There's this sense of loneliness, like I'd love a partner, but gosh, a partner, you know, here's the mind story, a partner who's vegan is really hard to find, and I can't accept a non-vegan. So it's like there's this, I want, and I'm not allowing at the same time. See, so there's a judgment that comes up, possibly, you know, possibly even stronger when it seems like we are living up to our ideals and goals. But then there's like, well, I can't accept people who aren't doing it like me. Okay, so that was a fun one to bring up. Yeah, another one I'd just like to touch on a little bit is whenever we perceive someone doing something a certain way where we don't think they should be doing it that way. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and he was relating to me how this woman thinks that people should park a certain way, and if they don't park a certain way, then she's going to be coming around saying, hey, you got to fix the way you're parking and stuff like that. And noticing that there's not a need for her to do it different. And here's what I saw coming up so strongly is the idea that she should be doing it different. And that's what's totally blocking the communication in relationships. Because if there's just a willingness to see that someone is feeling uncomfortable about something, then it's just real simple. It's super, super simple. It's like, okay, they're uncomfortable with the parking that way. And so then there's no need to argue with that. Period. Whether or not we find ourselves parking the right way, or asking our friends to park the right way, what's right in her mind or whatever, is neither here nor there. Whether we decide not to go over there anymore because the parking situation isn't attractive is neither here nor there. It's just a matter of seeing through that judgment that says, it doesn't matter the parking. Why does she care about it? That's our judgment that says why. Why does she see it that way? It doesn't matter. That is what is. And just in accepting what is, then we can relate with each other with more compassion. We don't even have to try. Okay? So unless any more hands come up or anyone writes me a question. Oh, I see a hand. How fun. Aloha, Irina.
Hi, aloha. It's me again.
Yay.
Yay. So I had a question about sexual attraction.
Great.
And yeah, and I caught a piece of video, maybe it was last week or the week before. You're talking, someone had asked a question about their menstruation, and you were talking about how like the body is, the body's part of the illusion too.
Yeah.
And like the menstruation doesn't have to be like any particular way or make you go through any particular thing. That's all just a part of the illusion that we can heal up or whatever. So the question came up about sexual attraction. So when, like, I'll just talk about myself.
Okay.
I experience sexual attraction to certain people, like very, very, very strongly to certain people and not to other people.
Okay.
And I guess the question is like, if it's all, I don't know, if it's all an illusion, can my like sexual energy be directed really in any direction that I choose, really? And I'm not subject to like the like pheromone chemical thing. That's just like a belief I have. Is my question making enough sense?
Yeah, I think so. Well, minds attract.
Minds attract.
They say it's pheromones and stuff like that, but the pheromones are also a projection of the mind. So mind energy attracts, and mind energy attracts. It's like that. Like attracts like. The vibrations are attracting each other, and they're always being attracted to each other for healing. I mean, the ego's purpose of the attraction is for making more illusion. But the more the ego goes down to try to make more illusion, the more is seen too, and the more through. So the purpose of all of that is to see through the illusion, and there's no need to make any kind of assessment, judgment as far as any kind of sexual attraction that arises. I mean, for me, I've been with my husband for 23 years, and over the course of those 23 years, I've felt sexual attractions coming up and stuff like that. And I've always just noticed that that's something that just comes and goes. It fluctuates, and never felt any kind of motivation to like pursue it, And I see also that whether it's pursued or not, again, is not meaningful. That's not something to be made meaningful. The whole story is only to be witnessed and experienced. So it's
like even the motivate. What if there is a motivation to pursue?
It's just meaningless, whether it's pursued or not. Whether it's pursued or not, and in any given instant, whomever we're sharing with, whomever we're communicating with, that's the opportunity for healing, and it really doesn't matter what form it takes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like for a lot of people, they think they're choosing to be monogamous or polyamorous, and they're not. They're not choosing. You don't. It's really identifying as one that makes a choice is just a setup for suffering. Like not choosing to be vegan when you're vegan. I made a conscious choice to be vegan. That always makes me laugh. You're also not choosing to be monogamous if you find yourself monogamous, or polyamorous if you find yourself polyamorous. Like I've had no problem my whole 23 years of being monogamous, because that's just what comes natural. I don't have to fight with sexual attraction. Sexual attraction comes up. I enjoy it in my body. It feels good. No need for me to like bring it into manifestation. It actually feels so good. Sexual attraction feels so good just as a sensation in my body. There's no need for more. I mean, it's fine if it happens, but there's no need for any kind of pursuit. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So any need or any perception of need that I have is the opportunity to like let the sensation that's happening, that's creating this idea that I have a need.
Yeah, let the spirit fill you up. That's true lovemaking. You know, the physical sex that's manifest through the bodies, that's a symbol. That's a symbol of how full and satisfied we can be from our spirit. And there's no need to seek like that, and there's no problem with anything on the surface that looks like seeking too. It's just allowed to do what it does, knowing that wherever we're led and into whose company we're led is for our benefit. It's all basically God's will.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay. I love you.
Awesome. I love you. Thanks.
Aloha.
Aloha.
And Molly, yay. Aloha, Molly.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah.
Another question.
Of course.
Well, it just came to my attention again because a text had come through after we talked. And so halfway through teacher training, one of our students hurt himself, but continued anyways. And then he was there, he stayed except for the last weekend. And then he asked for a refund, and I was basically like, oh, well, this is our policy. And he started to attack me, and I went through everything, and I was like, oh, this is our policy, and blah, blah, blah. And then Facebook this morning said that he tagged me in this beautiful post that someone wrote, and it's like, I'm tagged in this photo, and it's all about, like, no person is equal or less than another, and this, like, beautiful post. And I was like, hey, how are you? Are you healing okay? And, like, did you tag me because you felt, like, undervalued by me? And he's just like, I don't even think of you as a, just ripping my character apart. Like, you're no sister to me. Like, I'm telling everyone how shitty you are. You have no ethics. The only thing that transformed me was, like, my opinion of you and all this stuff. And so basically I engaged for a while, and now I'm feeling like fear that I kind of I tore open a wound that was probably just going to be okay, and then like a little bit of fear but not too much, and then like sort of like guilt that I even like engaged in that, and also like guilt and shame, and also like fear around like all of these texts are recorded, and even just like feeling shame that I even like said anything, that I even like participated in it all. And I hate to say this, but from the beginning I just wanted to be like, oh, I don't know, it's just a really tricky situation, and so I'm not really sure. I guess I'm just meant to feel these feelings of like guilt and fear that are rising through this person, but I don't know. I don't know if that's just a thing with business that's always going to sort of happen somehow.
Well, that's a belief too, There's there's also something there where there's probably a fear of losing some money. Do you sense something like that?
Well, I think that's what started it. Like, if I wasn't in like a scarcity mentality from the beginning, which was like, oh, you basically, this person like took a space in training and then really didn't actually take it seriously, and felt like he sort of just kind of goofed off to kind of get out of it, and like, but for me, I can claim that like I think scarcity mentality started the whole thing.
Okay.
And I'd really like to be able to just like give some back out of myself, just do it, because like even though it's like everything, like, you know, we're following complete like procedure, like there's nothing like out of integrity in that way, but I'm a kind of person that would be like, hey, I feel you, I understand, you
Yeah.
know, let me do that. I don't have, you know, that capacity at the moment, although like it's something maybe I will do when I can. So yeah, there was part of that, and then there's also this part of like, why am I going, like, why am I going to give a lot of my pattern is like giving so easily, like, oh, let me take care of that, let me take care of that, and then just like really, I guess it's a belief, but like really seeing how my money just drains because I'm like, oh, sure, here you go, and then feeling like this person didn't really value and like and then said, yeah, I'm staying, and then 3 weeks later demands a refund, and it's just like there's also a part of me being like, I can't be, I'm not going to be walked all over either, you know.
Sure. Yep. Yep. So it always comes down to how you feel about it. So what I'm sensing is there is a scarcity mentality going on, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it a problem for him to even be asking for that. You
Yeah,
know.
it's like we're bouncing scarcity back and forth.
Yeah, and you know, there's a fear of it not going the way you think it should go on your end, and on his the same. You know, there's a fear of it not going the way he wants it to go because it seems like someone's going to lose something. And you know, that's really the way the ego plays. It's like in order for someone to gain something, someone else has to lose something. Someone else has to give something up. But you
Mm-hmm.
know, really, it's all we're playing with here is illusions, and there's nothing that we can give up. You know, that's what I notice, and you know, that's kind of like the way we run our business, Miracle Botanicals. It's like somebody doesn't like their essential oil, or they think they deserve a refund for some reason. You know, we just give it to them. And I experienced on retreat too. Like there was one woman on retreat, and she came up to me at the end. She's like, I think I should get a refund, and I was like, you do? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I didn't get everything that I thought I should get, and I think I should get a refund. And I was like, okay, well, how much would you feel comfortable paying? And she goes, you're just going to let me pay whatever you want? And I go, yeah. Or whatever I want? I go, yeah. And so she goes, okay, well, I'll talk to my friend and who was also on the retreat, and then I'll think about it. And then they both came up and they go, we're going to give you the whole thing.
Oh,
But the thing is, you know, it's like from my point of view, I didn't need the money, and it's not that I couldn't use the money. That's not it. It's just that there's not a fear of being out of money.
right,
Fear of being out of money. That's the thing.
right.
If can, no can, no can. You know, so if there's not a fear of being out of money, then money seems to be available. Like whenever the motivation arises to buy something or get something or do something, the money just seems to be available. But you know, it's also seeing through that scarcity consciousness as if there would be not enough money. It's impossible for there to not be enough money, because remember, the only thing that we are making this illusion for, if you look from spirit's perspective, is to heal this idea that we're separate. It's not to get a certain amount of money or anything like that. And also all of the money concepts can be organized by spirit, just like I was saying before about how spirit can organize these concepts, all the concepts about money and stuff like that. So when there's let go of that, then there's a willingness to say, what is it that you're looking for? I think he already expressed that he'd like a refund, and whether or not you give him a refund, now that's not the part that's relevant too. You might stick to, well, you know, I just don't really see that a refund is relevant here. It really doesn't matter. I can't say that enough, how it doesn't matter. But it's that feeling of, how is this going to go? Is this person going to be talking about me now, or how is this going to go? because this fear of how things are going to go is taking away from the healing that's available right now. So it's following those kinds of thoughts. So that how's this going to go is right there, right now, an opportunity in the feeling body, in the energetic body that's there to be healed.
Right, because when he's not saying nasty things to me, I'm like, well, I don't have like I don't really have the capacity at the moment, but I will, because again, he came after the fact, but I was like, but I want to maybe just do that, like you said with your retreat, or like I just want to do that, but then the nasty things come my way, and I'm like, well, fuck that,
Uh-huh.
But,
yeah, so the nasty stuff is a little bit difficult to see through.
Yeah.
And it feels so personal. But the nasty stuff, that's just fear. That's the same kind of scarcity fear. It's fear of losing something that you think you need from another person. So it's just, when you see that all that nastiness is just fear, your heart softens. It's not really about you at all.
Yeah.
And it's your projection. That's the other thing.
It's so freaking awesome.
I know. It's not your projection in a shitty way, like most people take that. How am I projecting that? When you realize it's your projection, it's amazing. Yeah, it's like, it's just my projection, then I have nothing to be afraid of, since it's my projection.
Totally. I mean, yeah, totally. The whole thing started from not enough,
Yeah.
Like, I don't have enough students on my end. So, my friend, this person that I know wants to come. Like, I even kind of knew it was happening, that there was like a scarcity, like, fueling just with him for whatever reason. But it was like he was this great, like, teacher to represent. Like, look what happens when you feel that way, and that, it wasn't like the overarching, but it was like right when it was there, then he was there,
Yeah, it's like he's also, there's also looking to be heard and understood. And, since that's your projection, that's you looking to be heard and understood. And it's almost like you're acting as your own mother.
Holy
like
shit.
Giving that love right there.
I say that so much.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel fully seen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Or like, why didn't they call me and check in on me? Or like, but he was actually fine until I didn't, within a few weeks, I didn't ask him how his injury was. He was fine until then. It was fine because it was all agreed upon. It was totally fine. But when he felt unloved, unseen, then the money thing became an issue.
Right. Yes.
But
you want
so much, that was what I was crying about on my birthday.
What a beautiful opportunity.
Thank you. I'm glad I raised my hand again.
Yeah, I'm glad you raised your hand too. Do it anytime.
Go shed a few tears on this one.
Oh, you sweetheart. I love you so much.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Love you. Love you. Aloha.
Okay, so it looks like we might have reached the end of this session of Wisdom Dialogues, unless another hand goes up or a question comes. Yeah, we own a business called Miracle Botanicals, and we love our essential oils, and you're welcome to check us out, miraclebotanicals.com. Lots of people are super stoked with our company, and we're super stoked with all of you. I love you. Thank you, Lori. I love you. Tune in next week if you like, and every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. You can join my Facebook group, facebook.com/Wisdom Dialogues, to be notified of when these are coming up, and also to be notified when a new video is up. Hooray! I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Aloha and a hui ho.